Why should the British taxpayer be sending a penny to India?
Well, we're not. Simple fact is, look, first of all, Patrick, thank you for having me on the show. And look, I've long campaigned for reform for our international development budget. I think we have been spending more than perhaps very generously most other Western nations. Look at the US, look at Japan, look at Australia. They're spending around 0.2% of their GDP, where we were spending 0.7%. And it was welcome that we reduced that to 0.55 of our GDP. And of course, yes, we should help those most in need. Yes, we should help empower women and girls.
I've got to pick up on what you said, literally the first words out of your mouth, Aman. Taxpayers are sending money to India. We have sent money to India. In 2012, the government announced that it would transition away from funding India's government. Then the Independent Commission for Aid Impact calculated between 2016 and 2021, the UK provided £2.3 billion in aid to India. Bilateral aid, £441 million. Multilateral aid, the World Bank, 700. We're giving money to India. We are.
No, okay. So if by that you mean the money that the British international investment company is investing for profit in Indian private sector, which is giving a return to the UK taxpayer, but if you mean by that is aid, then that is not the definition of aid, Patrick.
The ICAI gave UK Indian aid programme, right, an amber red score, which is the second worst score, and it said this: it lacks a strong link to poverty reduction, which remains the statutory purpose of UK aid. So it's not working,
and that's the question. And that, no, of course, there is, look, let's be honest, the questions you're asking need to be asked of our government here in the United Kingdom.
Yes.
The simple fact that we need to be investing the UK taxpayers' hard-earned cash in a far better way that delivers actual economic development and prosperity for our friends and allies who are in need of that. Now, let's break this down. The top 10 foreign aid recipient countries of the UK were Afghanistan, Nigeria, Pakistan, Ethiopia, Yemen, South Africa, Somalia, South Sudan, Syria. Most of those are failed nations.
We had to stop giving some money to Syria because it turned out it was literally going to terrorists. And in Afghanistan, that is now under full Taliban control.
Now, if we break down the figure that's been bandied about over the last few days of 2.3 billion between 16 and 21, the vast majority of that, let's break it down. So 1 billion of that was invested in private sector equity in India by the British International Investment Company, which gave a return to the taxpayer. Now,
well, it didn't, I'm afraid. And I'm sorry, because that is actually just wrong. In one large investment, it went to a mid-sized Indian bank that was meant to increase lending to poor customers, but it was not ring-fenced. It was not ring-fenced.
That's exactly what I'm getting at. So some of that investment has gone to good places. So, for example, some of that investment has gone to Reliance Power, trying to generate more renewables. But now wait for this. Some of it went to a company called Vunic. Now, your viewers will be quite pleasantly surprised to hear it's the company which provides a personal stylist provision, providing customers with the best hand-picked clothes. Now, is that really the best use, even if it is an investment of British taxpayers' hard-earned money?
Well, it's not.
It's not. And that's why we need reform on our side here in the UK. I mean, look, the government of India has been long asking the UK to stop sending aid. And this was before 2015.
Why didn't they just not take it?
Well, OK, so the UK-India roadmap agreed by Prime Ministers Boris Johnson and Prime Minister Modi last year was very specific. It said, look, we do not need any more of this money, but the UK has a national interest in trying to drive investments from our global investing companies, be it in the City of London. So, for example, much of that bilateral aid that is being bandied about is actually going to places, for example, like the UK-India Partnership on National Infrastructure Investment Fund. Now, that is a fund where British money is going into that infrastructure fund in India to try and catalyse the investments going from the City of London. That is giving our lenders a return on that investment. Look, the Indian investment.
It's giving our lenders a return on the. This is the thing. I get what you mean, and I do also understand that it is not quite as simple as. Well, in fact, it's not really the case. But the Indian government coming out and going.
So it's not a matter of that 2.3 billion funding the Indian space program. It simply is not the case.
No, but it does look very, very jarring to the British public that any taxpayer's money is going to a country that can land something on the far side of the moon. And British taxpayers are spending money to India. They're getting very dubious returns off it. And I would just say as well, I think we need to have a serious conversation.
The British international.
We need to have we need to have a serious conversation about why a country.
We need to have a serious conversation.
Fifth largest economy in the world. The fifth largest economy in the world, right? Their economy has grown by 7.2% in the last financial year, which is way more than ours. Yet poverty remains at an astonishingly high level.
The conversation that we need to be having is, first of all, the direct aid that is going to those top 10 recipients. For example, why on earth are we spending good money on Pakistan when it has a nuclear program?
I agree. No, I agree.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, the reason why I focused on India, right, was because you just find something at the moon in India, which is, a gift as far as I'm concerned. But you're absolutely spot on. Pakistan, there's no reason why we should be doing that. China, we're sending them money. They've actually building a fake moon to help crop production. At one point, we spent about £25 million giving it to people in Kenya who were classed as rainmakers, and they would look at ants and try and predict the weather. It's mad.
Well, there you go. So, absolutely. And we need serious reform here in the UK on our international development budget. First of all, let's look at the US. They spend 0.2% of their GDP. We were spending 0.7%. We have far too many people that need domestically our help. Okay,
we do.
I think we need to be focusing far more on that. And secondly, I think we need to be far more focused on, even if these are investments, on what exactly is it that we're investing in? Are they bringing social change? Are they bringing economic prosperity to both the UK and India? I mean, I gave you that example of that firm that is being funded by one of the private equity funds that our BII is investing in. What is it providing? So those are serious questions that need to be asked. But I think boiling it down simply, 2.3 billion have gone. I mean, the BII made a profit of £585 million last year. Okay, now that is a return on that investment. India is 28% of that portfolio. Okay. However, having said that, I think, yes, we need a serious discussion here in the UK. But sadly, I think in this election year coming up...
Well, we're not going to have it, are we?
Well, that's the problem. So, but having said that, I think...
we're going to have to get going, I'm afraid. Aman, look, thank you very much. I really do appreciate you coming on.